Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Mizuki Mimi Hiruta. Is she Japan's best female fighter? With flaming pink hair, Mizuki Hiruta stepped in a boxing ring in LA, which is still suffering from wildfires. Fans openly greeted the Japanese female fighter who walked in with an ornamentally decorated coat with 12-inch words on a sign that said, "Call me Mimi." Many in the crowd smiled as if thankful for the distraction from all the smoke and fire and destruction in LA. The reaction from the fans made me happy, Hiruta said. Hiruta tossed off the heavy-looking coat in one motion and smiled brightly when announced it was showtime. The WBO super flyweight champion Hiruta looked solemnly at Mexico's Maribel Ramirez in the center of the boxing ring at Commerce Casino and proceeded to quickly assess, strategize, then attack. It was America's introduction to Japan's newest female boxing star. Hiruta is not the first Japanese world champion to fight on American soil, nor is she the first to establish a training camp in the U.S. Others, like Great 5 Division champion Naoko Fujioka, 2 Division champion Tsunami Tenkai, and 2 Division champion Miyo Yoshida, have fought in America. About 4 years ago, both Fujioka and Tenkai fought world title defenses on the same boxing card in LA. When Hiruta fought last weekend for 360 Boxing Promotions, she became another champion to fight in America, and perhaps the most flamboyant from a country that also has arguably the best male fighter on the planet in Naoya Inoue. Is Hiruta the best Japanese female fighter? She might be. Time will tell. But her destruction of the highly respected Maribel Ramirez was not expected, yet the pink-haired fighting machine proceeded to slip and counter the Mexican warrior with ease, and her willingness to attack with precision and speed wowed the hundreds of fans. Hiruta won over the crowd, including many of the Latino fans. After 8 bloody rounds, the fight was stopped due to an accidental clash of heads that opened a gash on Ramirez's left eye. The flurry of punches from Hiruta's vicious right hooks also caused damage. One knockdown in the first round was not counted by the referee because Ramirez turned her head and the Japanese fighter blow hit the back of her head. In the second round, a right hook sent Ramirez down again. This time the referee allowed it because he noticed the Mexican fighter turned her head purposely. Hiruta had power in both hands. After the fight was stopped and Hiruta was declared the winner by technical decision, the smile returned and the crowd loudly applauded her performance. Her trainer, Manny Robles, and 360 Boxing Promotions promoter Tom Loeffler were excited by her dominant showing. "I thought Mizuki's performance was very impressive," said Loeffler, who also had 2 other female bouts on the same show. "It was her very first fight in the USA, and she was received very well by the live audience, as well as everyone watching around the world." The colorful fighter smiled brightly and shook hands with new admirers who drove from all over Southern California to see the show. It's not often that boxing fans witness a potential superstar. Following her congratulations heaped on by fans, friends, and potential foes, the smiling face of Hiruta suddenly changed to a business stoic when asked about her goals. "I want any unification fight in the near future," said Hiruta. "And I want to fight in Las Vegas, only 289 miles away from that goal." It was clear in the 8 bloody rounds that Mizuki Hiruta is more than just a flash. There's a smash element too. "The people looked happy. That proves I entertained them," Hiruta said. Yes, she did. Mizuki is one of 3 reigning champions in today's super flyweight division, soon to be 4. Of the 3 current reigning champions that are there, Mizuki is the youngest and arguably the most memorable, though simultaneously also the least experienced. Irma Garcia of Mexico, who's got the IBF, and Ashley Gonzalez, who's got the WBC, have a lot more fights and a lot more rounds, a lot more experience than young Mizuki. He's 28. Ashley Gonzalez is 31, and Irma Garcia is 43. Mizuki wants to unify with the other champions at the weight. Those are the champions right now. A new one is set to be crowned very soon, in March, when unbeaten Jasmine Artiga of the United States takes on Mexico's own Regina Chavez. The next WBA super flyweight champion will be decided, will be crowned. This is probably who Mizuki Hiruta should go after first, because whoever wins this fight will still be less experienced than Irma Garcia, than Ashley Gonzalez. This is who she should go after first. Ideally, None of the other champions at the weight are with a major promotional outfit, and technically, neither is Mizuki Hiruta. Even if she continues in this partnership with Tom Loeffler's 360 Promotions, they're not a major outfit. They're a well-to-do outfit that do their own shows with some regularity, but do they have the kind of money to entice one of the other belt holders to unify with Mizuki? Very recently, news broke that Gabby Fundora would be staying in the flyweight division a while longer, long enough to defend her undisputed crown, meaning she's not going to be moving up to super flyweight, at least not yet. This affords Mizuki Hiruta a bit more time to establish herself as the most dominant force in this division without having to contend with the statuesque size and power of Gabby Fundora, because once she moves up, she's everybody's problem. Though not yet. This affords Mizuki a bit more time to pursue those unification matches that she wants, and let's see if she can get them. I hope she can. Men's Super Bantamweight news. Ye Joon Kim says Naoya Inoue is human and he can be beaten. Ye Joon Kim was out running when the call came to change his life. Kim was doing his road work in preparation to face Filipino Kenny Demacilio at Tokyo's Ariake Arena when his trainer, John Bastable, called him. Australia's Sam Goodman was out of his rescheduled fight with Naoya Inoue after the cut that caused the first delay reopened. Kim knew he was the backup should Goodman again not make it to the dance. Goodman and Inoue were due to meet on December 24th, but that became January 24th. But he did not think that the phone would ring and his path would change. I was running my 6 kilometer when my coach called me and told me that Goodman was injured and that my management had called to say I am now facing Inoue. Kim told Boxing Scene, "It was great news. I chose to run a 10 kilometer instead, as I needed the extra distance and conditioning now that I would be fighting the best in the world." Kim is 21-2 with 2 draws and 13 knockouts. The 5'4" South Korean turned pro in 2012, aged 19, and lost in his second bout. He has subsequently boxed in Mexico, America, Australia, and Thailand. He also won on his previous visit to Japan in 2013, when he won a majority decision over Masatoshi Tomita, and 2014 when he defeated Akihiro Matsumoto in 9 rounds for a WBC youth title. In more recent years, he lost the majority decision to the 14-9 Rob Diesel in that United States visit, but Kim has gone on to win his next 2, stopping John Basan in a round in Australia and Rakesh Lokab in 5 rounds in Thailand. From Seoul, which boasts a population of more than 9 million, Kim now has a dream ticket to change the trajectory of his life. Fighting an elite opponent like Inoue is a chance he has long coveted. This has always been a motivation of mine, said Friday's challenger. And, in fact, since Inoue moved up to my weight of 122, I had always had the hope that one day our paths would cross. So to be here now fighting him for all the belts really is a dream come true. It may seem like a dream now before the punches get thrown and the punches land. It'll seem like a nightmare shortly. Inoue is the undisputed junior featherweight ruler. Last year, he added the scalps of Luis Nery and TJ Doheny to his list of victims, and he sits atop the sport as one of its finest fighters with a shiny 28-0, 25 KO record. Despite the gifts, ability, and trophy cabinets of Alexander Usyk and Terence Crawford, it is Inoue whom Kim holds in highest regard. Yes, I think he is the best boxer in the world, said the challenger of his foe. He has very, very good timing and speed. He has all the skills of a complete professional boxer. He has power also in combinations. He knows the ring. He has a good sense of where to position and knows how to control how fights are fought against most of his opponents so far. It took Inoue a little time to figure out Doheny, and Nery even dropped him during their blockbuster at the Tokyo Dome last May. Inoue ended up defeating Nery in 6 and Doheny in 7. He is human. He can be beaten, said Kim. He will make mistakes, but you cannot go into the ring and fight him to survive. You need to take calculated risks and fight to win. I know that surely people will see I fight to win, and I will do my best to use my strength and skills to meet him in the exchanges and land my power punches. Kim is as high as a 22-1 underdog. The list of South Korean boxing greats is not a long one, but Kim is aware of that, and he understands the impact he could have should he be triumphant. Boxing was once one of our more popular sports. But recently it's more baseball, basketball.
Games. Trivial games.
You can play games, but you don't play boxing.
Baseball, basketball, and soccer that have wider attention, but since this fight was announced, I am so pleasantly encouraged by all the great support from home. South Koreans really want to see me do this, he said. That does not mean, however, that he is feeling the pressure. As a wide underdog, little is expected of him. He hopes to give the fans a show and to surpass expectations, of course. He longs for victory too. I just feel the hopes of what it would mean to achieve my goal. I want to prove to the boxing world that I am an elite boxer, he added. Kim is not married and has no children. He is simply motivated by creating the best legacy that he can in the sport. Away from boxing, he likes cooking, watching movies, shooting at people, and teaching youngsters to fight as he tries to inspire the next generation of boxers from his country. My motivation to box is to build a better life and legacy, Kim explained, to show that people have the power to overcome any situation in life. I am an orphan, and there were many difficulties growing up, but I want to show there is hope for everyone. For someone who's been through a lot in life, it is little wonder that pre-fight nerves are something he scarcely feels. Instead, he is filled with ambition, hope, and enthusiasm to be the best he can be on Friday night. I will go through my routines and processes to prepare, he said, of how he will handle the emotion of the night. It is a great opportunity, but I will focus on giving it my all. I know I need to be prepared at my best for Inoue, so my focus will be there, as well as having a country behind him. Kim also has Australian fight manager Mike Altamura in his corner. Altamura was the one who, at the end of last year, volunteered Kim to be on standby for Inoue. When he picked up the phone call less than 2 weeks out from Japan's Hall of Fame promoter, Mr. Akihiko Honda, Altamura was asked whether the Korean was on weight. Now they're in Japan, ready to shake the boxing world. Jun is a great kid to work with, said Altamura. He's very quiet, very hardworking, very disciplined.
Doesn't leave the toilet seat up.
Focused and carries a lot of gratitude towards the team that represents him, so it's a pleasure to work with him. I feel as though he's been through a lot of tough wars throughout his career and never really received his true props from the industry. So I'm grateful he's finally landed an opportunity that puts him on the grandest stage in the sport. Hopefully he gives a really, really strong showing. And even if he doesn't, he's likely making a lot more money now than he was originally going to, because originally he was just on the undercard. Now he's in the main event. While Scam Goodman requests the WBO mandatory position to be upheld, Sam has now officially requested the WBO that his mandatory challenger status for Inoue's super bantamweight title is upheld after he withdrew from the fight twice due to injury. The WBO has requested that Team Goodman submit medical evidence and a detailed explanation regarding his injury and recovery within the next 10 days. Don't know if he has. I think that Inoue should be allowed to move on without having to fight Sam Goodman. Let the fight with Kim satisfy his mandatory obligation, and as far as Sam, you've wasted enough of people's time. I hope his petition is rejected.
I think Madrimov's a better fighter than Canelo, especially at the Canelo at this point. But he's still 2 weight classes up. I don't think Canelo's as versatile even as Madrimov, but there's still 2 weight classes up. He's big, he's strong. So there's still things to worry about with Canelo. But I think Madrimov will have made Crawford think more than Canelo will when it's all said and done. Again, the only thing hanging in the balance here is Canelo too big and strong, where Crawford's better skills, better boxing, better IQ get, eventually undone by a guy who's just too big and is just walking him down. Because one thing Canelo does do well, he holds his ground very well and cuts the ring off very well. Even when you hit him and you're popping him, he doesn't give up ground very much. So therefore, he's keeping that mental stress on you as he's cutting off the ring, which allows him to also get to your body, which there's things to keep in mind, man. Listen, I'd have rather seen Canelo fight the top super middleweights personally. The other option could have been Canelo against like a Jake Paul. I'm thankful that we got Canelo against Crawford instead. So there's pros and cons to it.
Can't take Paulie Malignaggi's evaluation of the fight seriously when he so clearly has an axe to grind with Canelo Alvarez, and he's not being objective at all. How could he be? Coming to the conclusion that after just 11 or 12 fights Israel is more skilled than Canelo.
You're not serious.
In today's world of boxing punditry and analytics, what you'll find is a lot of individuals that are saying things just to get a reaction, hot takes. And when they're not doing that, they're just wearing their hearts on their sleeves, or their biases.
Because Paulie don't like Canelo.
Not saying that he has to, because he doesn't, though when you're analyzing a fight, you're supposed to focus on the fighters, and I don't think he's doing that when he tells the world that Israel Madrimov, after 11 to 12 fights, is more skilled than Canelo.
Who's fought better fighters? Across more fights, across more divisions?
Canelo.
Do you think that Israel Madrimov, when he retires from the sport of boxing, he'll retire from it as accomplished as Canelo? I'm not talking about marquee value. I'm talking about being a four-weight, unified, and undisputed champion.
If what you're telling me is that he's more skilled than Canelo after all of that, you need some evidence of it, some way to quantify it, aside from your opinion. If he's that good, he should at least be able to match Canelo Alvarez's accomplishments, and I don't think it's a hot take to say that he's not going to. A lot of fighters, good ones, are not going to retire from the sport of boxing having accomplished all that Canelo has accomplished, because contrary to the opinions of a few, he is one of the best fighters in the world. He's not just a brute.
You talk about him like he's just a brute, a brawler.
The Canelo Alvarez from 154 and 160 was more of a boxer, more of a counterpuncher, but he's adapted his style to contend with the size of bigger opponents at 168, taller fighters with longer arms that would like to keep him at arm's length. He regularly closes the distance on them and puts a lot of pressure on them. That's a skill. Cutting off the ring is a skill. Catching and countering while coming forward, that's a skill.
Slipping and countering, his shot selection, his accuracy, pacing himself and not blowing his load.
Those are all skills, and Paulie Malignaggi more than me should know that.
He does, he just wants to trash the guy. That's all it is.
Could he not be one of the most skilled fighters in the sport when he's regularly outsized by his opponents, and he has been for some years now? Canelo Alvarez is not a big guy by any stretch, but he consistently makes the ring a very small place for many, if not all, those fighters at 168 that try to move on him, try to shake and bake him. It doesn't work.
Madrimov is more skilled than Canelo.
What did I tell you a couple of videos ago? If you want to hear, by and large, the silliest boxing takes, or the worst ones, come to America, because that's where they live.
It's where you'll find him.
To suggest that all Canelo Alvarez has going for him going into a Crawford fight is his size and power, that he's acclimated to 168 and Terence Crawford is not, is a gross oversight. Canelo is skilled too.
He's been down less times than most other fighters, in spite of having more fights, more recorded fights, than most other fighters, including Terence.
He's been down less. He hasn't been downed at all. He's never been knocked down.
Some would say it's because of how defensible he is. How durable too, but also defensible.
Paulie's one of these guys to where, when he makes up his mind, he's made up his mind. And he made up his mind he's not going to like Canelo Alvarez. He's not going to give him his flowers. That's all it is. To suggest that Madrimov, with only 11 to 12 fights, is already more skilled than Canelo is just silly.
So if Canelo, who's less skilled, knocks out Terence,
when Madrimov didn't, Paulie Malignaggi's gonna have a lot of crow to eat.